Hey guys, Nuzlite here, and we're back from the YouTube video. Today we have, of course, as the title suggests, Vegeta from Dragon Ball versus Shadow from Sonic. We're going to be looking at specifically games Shadow, like no Archer comic Shadow or anything, and also specifically Dragon Ball Super Vegeta. If, technically the manga is like continuation of Dragon Ball Super, but there's different scaling and different feats and different abilities within that. It would just not really the same character. And also, I was planning on making like a new series where I go back over some death battles that both downplay both of the characters like a lot to the point where they're not really the same character. And GT Vegeta or End of Z Vegeta versus Shadow would be an absolute stomp. So we kind of forced them to using Dragon Ball Super Vegeta if we want a close fight. So yeah, let's just get into this video. For strength attack potency, base Vegeta is of course comparable to base Goku, and base Goku is capable of shaking, the macrocosm with Beerus. We know this to be much more powerful than just like a couple times universal, since Super Saiyan God Goku outscales Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, or Vegito rather, as talked about when Goku said that Vegito would stand a chance against Beerus. And since, base form Vegito was capable of fighting Buhan, who was going to collapse the universe, this would mean that Vegito would be 400 times universal. So Super Saiyan God Goku, and by, extension, base Goku later on, would be at least 400 times universal. So yeah, base Vegeta would scale to that. He also, of course, destroyed the Room of Spirit and Time, which is nigh infinite, or infinite in general. And Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in the Tournament of Power ends up surpassing Omen Goku, or the first Omen of Goku rather, the first Omen of Ultra Instinct Goku. This Omen of Goku is capable of shaking the world of Void, which, has infinite no time and no space, which is like, it is a multiversal level feat. You could say it's low multiversal, so it's technically didn't destroy anything, but because, he shook it and his power can be felt through infinite no space and no time, it is multiversal. And this is the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. We know this because, obviously he does much better against suppressed Jiren than the first Omen of Goku, like the first Omen of Ultra Instinct Goku does. And Jiren even says, that blast wasn't half bad when talking about Vegeta, something he doesn't even credit Omen Goku whatsoever. And Super Saiyan Blue Evolution is more powerful than that by about 20 times, since it's comparable to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. So yeah, Vegito is multiversal. His Shadow, meanwhile, in base is capable of fighting Emerald, who, with the power of, he absorbed the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which can output, initially, 32 teratons of TNT, which is small star level, so base Shadow would be, small star level at least. And when he becomes Super Shadow, he was capable of fighting Solaris, Solaris who's capable of consuming all timelines, which would also be multiversal. The only kind of catch to it is that he did it alongside Supersonic and Super Silver, but the fact that he was able to damage, Solaris at all proves that he's at least on that level, bare minimum. So for attack potency and power, I'd probably have to give the edge to Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, because, he is also multiversal in Super Saiyan Blue, and has Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, which is beyond that. Super Shadow doesn't really have a form beyond Super Shadow, so yeah, I'd have to say that Vegeta just edges out Shadow for power. As for speed, and of course Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is capable of fighting suppressed Jiren, and did much better against him than Hit did, and in the fight with Hit, Jiren was stated to surpass time, which would give, Vegeta infinite speed. As for Shadow, he's of course capable of dodging attacks from Solaris, who is, omnipresent, and his attacks can be felt throughout time, which would therefore, have Shadow at immeasurable speeds, which would also mean that Super Shadow is faster than Vegeta, since, well, yes, Vegeta has infinite speed, Shadow has immeasurable speed, which is kind of like the difference between 4th dimensional and 5th dimensional. The only sort of proof whatsoever that Vegeta can be on Shadow's level of speed is that his power can be felt with no time, but, that is power, not speed. Of course, Shadow is also capable of moving in voids with no time as well, so yeah, Shadow definitely has a speed advantage here. As for durability, and Vegeta's attack potency should scale to his durability, since that's really just how Ki works in Dragon Ball. However, Vegeta can also be scaled to be even higher, since consistently he's been shown to be able to take massive beatdowns from beings much more powerful than him, to the point where it's almost in a comedic fashion. Vegeta, at least with durability, is multiversal in Super Saiyan Blue, but we know to be much higher. Super Shadow can also be scaled to multiversal due to being able to take attacks from Solaris. This arguably scales higher than his attack potency since, unlike his attack potency, Silver and Sonic aren't exactly here to help block the attacks for him. But I would still give the edge to Vegeta, seeing that he already outscaled Shadow to begin with. There's also the fact that Super Shadow is seen to be, invulnerable to taking damage, which is sort of a no-limits fallacy, but, we'll bring that more up in the ability section. For abilities, weaponry, and technique, Vegeta's a master martial artist, as shown he's been able to go toe-to-toe with Son Goku. He also has several different transformations, such as Super Saiyan, which is a 50 times increase, Super Saiyan 2, which is a 100 times increase, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, which is 50 times Super Saiyan God, and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, which is 20 times Super Saiyan Blue. He has shown resistance to extremely hot temperatures and cold temperatures. He has shown resistance to electricity from Zamasu's lightning. He's shown resistance to mind manipulation from Babidi through sheer willpower. He also has a Master of Ki, which means that he can, lower his energy so he can't be sensed. He also can't be sensed by people who don't have God Ki, since that is just how Dragon Ball Ki works. He also can sense where people are. So, even if you're invisible, you can still sense where you are. Goku has been shown now to attack, ghosts, so it is reasonable to assume that Vegeta has, intangible, be able to hit intangibility people, but, since he's never done it, it's more, up in the air whether he can or not. He also has the Gallic Gun, the Big Bang attack, and the Final Flash, all powerful attacks in their own right. He can fly. He has resisted soul manipulation or being erased from existence, has been able to take and overpower the Hakai from Toppo. He also has some level of light manipulation since Super Saiyan emits light. He gets stronger with rage and the more damage he takes. He also has minor regeneration. This is mostly, or the best example of it is seen in the manga, but obviously we're not using that. I guess the best example we have of Vegeta's low regeneration is when after the fight with Toppo, he was completely drained, and yet afterwards was still able to get up and fight Jiren at full capacity. He has enhanced senses, is quite acrobatic, can create after images, and has telekinesis as well. He also has the ability to explode himself. He's survived his own self-destruction, but it's obviously an extremely powerful attack. He can use shockwaves, fire off fireballs, has the Ki Enzan, which can cut through almost anything providing you're near enough to it in power. He has also shown resistance to radiation and empathic manipulation. And he has a limited power nullification as well, shown when he's able to nullify the Hakai. As for Shadow, he is also quite acrobatic. He has homing attacks, which also have instinctive reaction. He has regeneration as well, as he's survived coming back from being completely squished. He has supernatural willpower, can sharpen his spines. He can paralyze people in place with the Chaos Spear, or at least hold them in place. He has explosion and manipulation. He also is skilled in many different, forms of firearms. He has air manipulation, fire manipulation, vibration manipulation, teleportation. He can slow down or completely stop time in general. He has spatial manipulation. The Chaos Emeralds can heal their, user. He can create multiple versions of himself. He also can create force fields out of fire and electricity. He can send beings to outside of space-time. He gets limited invulnerability via his strong emotions. He can hit ghosts, weaken opponents. He's shown resistance to paralyzement gas. He has matter and antimatter manipulation. Can seal people away, or at least resist being sealed away. He has resistance to electricity, extreme temperatures. Can create pseudo-black holes. Can erase people from existence with a Chaos Rift. He has resistance to mind and soul manipulation along with possession. He can fly, can absorb light into him to make him stronger. He also has limited mind control as well. He has fear inducement via the spooky charm. He has elemental manipulation, such as with ice, water, electricity, and ground with their respective rings. He has magnetism manipulation, damage reduction, invisibility. He has intangibility with violent void. And the Chaos Blast, which is of course a really powerful blast. So for who is more versatile, I think it's kind of clear that Shadow is, or at least he can do much more than Vegeta. For whose abilities are stronger, or that is more up in the air, though I'd probably still have to say Shadow, seeing that, existence erasure, time stop, all those sort of things are really overpowered, and it's just stuff that Vegeta doesn't really have. So yeah, the abilities and versatility point here go to Shadow. As for weaknesses, Vegeta's only real weakness is the fact he's quite prideful and arrogant, which can often lead to, big mistakes, and, comically so. He has gotten better with this over time, but of course it is still his biggest weakness with him. Shadow Mimo is also quite arrogant. When he takes off his limiters, yeah, he gets more powerful, but he kind of loses a little bit of control when he does that. Also, his super form only lasts a few minutes as well. So for who's more vulnerable, I think it's clear it's definitely Super Shadow. So who wins the fight? We've gathered from this that Vegeta is more powerful, more durable, and also is less vulnerable. Meanwhile, Shadow has better abilities, is more versatile, and is faster. So who wins the fight? Both of them definitely can win the fight, like, in different scenarios. For example, if Shadow uses Super Shadow immediately, he could speed blitz Vegeta before he could really transform. The speed difference is, of course, the biggest issue. So it really comes down to the question of if Vegeta could survive all Shadow's attacks before the timer runs out. Because when the timer runs out, Shadow can't really do much to Vegeta whatsoever, and Vegeta would absolutely stomp, since I think if it's clear that even base Vegeta could beat base Shadow. So I'd say that Vegeta could very well survive Shadow's entourage, or at least Shadow's power. Many of the things that Vegeta can do, or rather many of the things that Shadow can do, Vegeta can resist, or it doesn't really matter. For example, stopping time doesn't really matter since they're both beyond time. Electricity and fire shields don't really matter since Vegeta's shown resistance to them. The limited mind control that Shadow has, Vegeta's also shown resistance to. The only really thing that Vegeta has that Shadow can really take advantage of is the light manipulation that comes from the Super Saiyan transformation that he can absorb into and make himself stronger. Remember, Vegeta can also get stronger with rage as well. And, well, yeah, Shadow can go, completely invulnerable with strong emotions. Doesn't last very long, at least. And given how he's so much faster than Vegeta, again, Vegeta's main focus would be just to survive until Shadow's, out of the super form. If Vegeta has prior knowledge of Shadow's super form, then he could definitely win if he paces himself and, is able to take all Shadow's attacks. Considering he's able to take beatdowns from people who are much more powerful than him, let alone Shadow, who is slightly weaker than him, then I'd say he's definitely able to, survive and eventually beat Shadow that way. Shadow could definitely keep Vegeta on his toes with his, vast arsenal. But I would say that overall Vegeta would win the fight. If you disagree, or if, I've missed out anything, then, feel free to put that in the comment section below. Again, Shadow can win, definitely, but I would say that more often than not, Vegeta does. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in the next video.